On January 28, 2025, at the prestigious Johannesburg Stock Exchange, key players from across Africa's tourism and business sectors gathered for the official media briefing of Meetings Africa 2025. An event designed to shape the future of African business tourism and collaboration.
Thank you for joining us. Welcome here also this morning to the Acting Mayor of Johannesburg, Acting Mayor Mabaso. Thank you also for joining us. We are going to see a lot of each other this year in preparing for the G20, because Johannesburg will be the host for the presidential summit. Also to our SA Tourism Chairperson, Professor Gregory Davids, our CEO, Nombolelo of SA Tourism, and all the staff of SAT that do all the work behind the scenes, Tandiwe, Bronwyn, and all the others. Then to all tourism partners in the private sector and the various spheres of government, the provincial government, members of the media.
No, good morning. Morning very much, Program Director. Allow me to begin by acknowledging the distinguished guest in the room. Molweni Betuna, Dumelang Kaufela, Mora Alma. Minister of Tourism, Me Patricia de Lille. I also greet you. The Honorable Acting Mayor of Johannesburg. Thank you for your support. To all our guests and stakeholders present today, thank you for joining us as we begin the countdown to Meeting Africa, a platform for showcasing knowledge, expertise, and collaboration across our continent.
Greetings to the Honorable Minister Patricia de Lille, the Deputy Minister, the CEO, and all the CEOs that are present here today, the officials of government and from other institutions, all the esteemed guests that are present today. Good morning to you all, colleagues, the members of the media.
With a warm welcome, Honorable Patricia de Lille, Minister of Tourism, set the tone for an inclusive and transformative Meetings Africa. Her message was clear: this is more than just an event, it is a movement toward an integrated and prosperous African tourism sector.
The other two visas improvements that we have already announced is the ETA. It's called the Electronic Travel Authorization. You know, the beauty of that is that where you'll be able to apply for a visa and to South Africa, and within a turnaround time of 72 hours. So you can imagine how many people is going to take up coming to our country with an ETA visa. But also for companies that are already investing in our country and do have partnerships with South African companies, they will be able to get a 5-year multi-entry visa to our country. So we are looking forward that once all of this come into effect, I've already put that into the plans for the next 5 years to see as an enabler. Visas are an enabler for the tourism sector. The Trusted Tour Operator Scheme, the Electronic Travel Authorization, and then of course the Nomad Digital Visa that is also being introduced.
A pivotal panel discussion brought together strategic leaders, including the CEO of South African Tourism, the head of destination and marketing, and other influential voices in the industry. Topics ranged from economic integration to the significance of inter-Africa trade and collaboration.
Well, definitely right from the beginning in terms of our planning. We've included the AU, and then we've included all the regional bodies like ECOWAS, like SADC. So all the north, south, east, west regional bodies are included in the planning of the event to make sure that we leave no one behind. So I can assure you it's a continental approach. And we're not only inviting the continent and the regional bodies, they are actively participating in the planning of the event because it's the first time it will be hosted in Africa. No, not at all. We have got an outreach program led by President Cyril Ramaphosa. We're going to go down to the ground to our communities. We're going to explain to them that we are hosting the G20 event. We're going to explain to them the benefits that are there. For instance, tourism will be hosting our ministerial event in Mpumalanga, one of our 9 provinces. And we're going to go the length and the breadth of the province to inform people about it, but also ask them. We want to showcase the culture in the province. We want to ask them to help us to prepare gifts produced by them that we can give to our guests arriving. The communities will be at the airport to welcome the various delegations from across the world. So it's going to be all inclusive. So the outreach programs, which we've already started with, is going to be all over the country. We want every South African to feel and to know about the G20, but also to know about the benefits of us hosting the G20 on African soil. Yes, I think with the Africa Free Trade Agreement that the African governments must move faster to ratify the African Free Trade Agreement. You know, while it is just still on paper and we're not implementing it, because with the African Free Trade Agreement, we are not only moving goods, we're also moving people. And there's been a slow ratification of the African Free Trade Agreement because therein lies the opportunities for the whole continent. So I do think that more African countries must ratify the Free Trade Agreement. South Africa is leading in the continent, but that's not good enough. We're also leading with business events in the Middle East. So we use Meetings Africa to speak to the continental partners to say, this is how we as South Africa are doing it. You know, we've got a National Convention Bureau that coordinates all the business events together with the private sector in South Africa. And that has helped us and illustrate to them the importance of that partnership with the private sector. And we do it every time when the African states come and attend this event, and we will repeat it this year. But like I was saying earlier on that, you know, we need to stop talking about what we need to do. We know what we need to do. We just need to start doing it now. And say in 2025, we're no longer going to take resolutions and decisions about what we need to do. But the challenge on all the leaders in the continent is we must just do the right thing. And that is to implement all of those resolutions and decisions that we've taken over the years. No, we certainly include them right from the beginning in the planning phases so that we don't leave anybody out. And if there are, in terms of the tourism sector, if there are associations within the Francophone countries, they can contact me directly. And I will start the conversation with them about how we can all work together on the continent. So please, I invite countries in the French-speaking countries to contact me directly, and I will really commit to engage with them. Yes, but we must get the leaders in Africa to lead. Because that is the problem. We have signed these agreements to make, like in the SADC region, to have like a SADC visa for all the countries in the SADC region, just in our own region. And some SADC countries have not ratified that. They're not allowing it, because they are cashing in on what, as Africans, we must pay for visas, what we must pay for customs duties and all of that. So stop that and allow young people to move freely within our continent. If you look even from outside South Africa, out of the 56 countries in Africa, just over 38, we have got a visa regime that regulate the travel in those countries. We should be opening, but it's happening. Kenya is doing it. Ghana is the recent country to do it. I will be visiting Ghana by the end of March to also learn from them, because ratify all of those agreements, ratify the African Union 2063 agenda, and we as the youth must force our leaders to implement it. Decisions are there, it has been taken, it must just be implemented. And also for the young people, they are not only the future, but they're also the present. And therefore we must facilitate the movement of young people, especially across our continent. That will only help us in the future.
Meetings Africa 2025 is more than a conference, it is a declaration of Africa's readiness to lead in business tourism. With strategic planning, inclusivity, and international cooperation, this event paves the way for a new era of African economic transformation.